Am I the asshole for returning a birthday gift I got from my boyfriend after he insulted me about my colorful past? This happened last night, but my phone is still blowing up. I am 26, dipped into my savings and got Mike, my boyfriend, 27, a PS5 for his birthday yesterday. He knew he was getting the PS5 because he told me that the PS5 is the only thing he wants. We've been together for 4 years, so the cost didn't matter. That is until I found out what he thinks about me. Some background. When I was 18, I was involved with Jake, a guy who I met online. We ended things after 3 months, and I moved on shortly after with Adam, a guy from work. I found out a couple months later that Jake and Adam were actually really close friends, but I didn't know Jake long enough to meet his friend group, so I had no idea. After finding out, I took some time off dating, and 2 years later, I met my current boyfriend Mike. I was upfront and honest with Mike about my past and the fact that I was unintentionally involved with friends. He said he understood and my past didn't bother him. Last night at his party, I showed up with the PS5 and him and his friends were screaming with joy. His best female friend Jessica laughed and said, "I wish I was a thought so I could afford a PS5 too." I looked at her with an "excuse me" look on my face, and she just said never mind, and walked away. I confronted my boyfriend about it and he said, and I quote, "She's just messing with you, you can't take a joke?" So I pushed further as to why this girl is even calling me names to begin with, and he said, "Well, everyone knows you were a thought before you met me." I asked him to explain how I was a thought before him and he said, "You know, messing with best friends." He then pat me on the shoulder and said that it's okay because I'm not who I was back then, and if he could get over my colorful past and thought mentalities to give me a chance, then I could get over Jessica's comments and give her another chance. I didn't say anything, I just got up, took the PS5 from the gift table and left. He was pissed. He literally called me like 20 times, but I didn't care. I was so hurt that I took the bow off and took it straight back to the store I got it from. They happily refunded it. I thought that was done, but Mike and all his friends including Jessica are berating me for being petty, and they're all saying I brought this on myself by making poor choices. I responded to Mike and told him that he deserves better than me, so find someone who wasn't a thought and get the PS5 from them because I returned it. He started screaming how I'm the biggest asshole for returning it and how I should be happy he ignored my colorful past. I'm thinking maybe taking it back went too far. Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for wanting for my roommate to replace my special wine that her friend opened? I am 23. Share an apartment with 2 roommates. One is 28 and one is 25. My 28-year-old roommate, Morgan, sometimes has friends over, and they'll watch movies and drink something, usually wine. I don't really drink, just once or twice a year on special occasions. The most recent time was because my sis wanted to do a wine tasting while we were on a trip together. At the winery, I found the first wine that I've actually enthusiastically liked, a spicy wine infused with hot peppers. I bought a bottle, took it home, and put it in my section of the shared pantry. A couple of months went by without incident. Then one Friday night, I came home to Morgan and 2 of her friends drinking it. I confronted her about it, and she said that her friend had opened it without knowing it was mine. Morgan apparently realized the mistake but thought it would be okay because I've said that I don't like wine before. What makes you think that made it okay? I've said that before, yes, but this is literally the only wine I've ever enjoyed enough to buy a bottle of. I was saving it for a special occasion or maybe to share the next time my sister came to visit, but they drank most of it, and now there's barely a full glass left. I told her I wanted her to replace it, and she agreed. Well, a couple weeks later she said that she'd gotten me another bottle, but it was just regular wine from the liquor store. I told her that she must have misunderstood. I don't want just any old bottle of regular wine. I want her to get me another bottle of the actual wine that she and her friends drank. Her eyes got really wide and she started complaining about how that winery is a 3-hour drive away, and that wasn't fair because it was her friend who opened it and not her. Honestly, I told her that I didn't really care. Morgan knew it was mine and let her friends drink it anyway. She could have told her friend that it was mine, put it away, and told me about it, and I would have understood. But no, she let them go ahead and even poured herself a glass. She was still drinking it when I came home. So yeah, I've told her that her friend can replace it or she can, don't really care how. I just want another bottle before the lease is up next year and I move out. Morgan is mad at me. She's been avoiding hanging out in our shared living room and won't speak to me at all now. Our third roommate thinks I'm being unreasonable and wants me to just drop it and accept the regular wine bottle as a replacement. So Morgan will get back to her old self. They're both making me feel really bad now, and I'm wondering if I'm being too harsh, so am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole for not wanting to split a dinner bill evenly? I was at a work conference at the weekend just gone, and had to travel out of town for it. The range of colleagues who attended this conference was pretty varied, ranging from fresh-faced grads to established workers to senior managers. The company paid for certain activities, including specific dinner events, but they didn't cover this particular one, because it was organized in an impromptu fashion after one seminar which a bunch of people, myself included, attended. I will add that there had been no prior agreement or arrangement discussed in terms of how the bill would be split. My expectation would be that either everyone pays for what they consumed, plus an appropriate tip, or everyone has an agreed number of courses and drinks and the bill gets split. Dinner was great, and everyone seemed to be having a good time. There were about 20 of us at the table, mostly younger guys. Now, the younger guys were absolutely putting the drinks away. Many beers and bottles of wine were consumed. Personally, I only had a couple of soft drinks because I was driving, and I know a few other guys were as well. By the time the bill came, someone worked it out that we were due to pay approx £90 per head if the bill was being split evenly. I had kept track of what I had, and my total came to around £45, including a 15% tip. I could definitely afford the higher split, but I kind of objected on the grounds that I'd be paying double the price of my meal to cover someone else's bar tab, and I voiced these concerns to the group. A few people complained, saying that I had made things awkward for everyone, and I suppose that may have been the case. But if the situation had been addressed at the start of the meal, which is the real failing here, it's possible more folks would have decided that they wanted to take a drink at dinner. The next day I was chatting to someone who knew the manager of some of the folks in question, and they had apparently continued drinking and continued complaining about the situation after we had all parted ways after dinner. I felt kinda bad because I suppose some of the younger guys aren't on as good salaries as some of the senior manager types, and they'd have appreciated the free bar, so to speak. Am I the asshole for objecting to an even split of the bill?
Am I the asshole for telling my friend to stop using my life to get petty clout and to live her fantasy somewhere else? I am 17, have 8 older brothers. Without getting into too much detail, there's a few adoptions and half-siblings in the mix, but I'm close to all of them, and while my life can be crazy sometimes, I wouldn't trade them for the world. It's also relevant that I don't have either of my parents in my life and haven't since I was 11. The issue involves my close friend, who I've known since we were 4, for about a year now. She's been consistently posting on social media about her best friend's super hot older brothers, and the terrible tale of how she ended up in a love triangle with her best friend's brothers. And it's seriously annoying. She's never really had anything to do with my brothers. They know her as my little sister's friend, and nothing more, so I really don't get where this is all coming from. Over the last few weeks, however, it's gotten so much worse. She'll actively tell stories to people at our school about the steamy romance that is her life, and it's bringing me a lot of unwanted attention. I've tried to talk to her about it, but she always says that she'd never do anything to hurt me, and she's just living her life, which doesn't even make sense. I've mentioned it so many times that I've started to avoid hanging out with her because I know my brothers will come into it and I'll have to ask her to knock it off again. Everything came to a head yesterday. We went out with some friends and 4 of my brothers dropped us both off. When we got inside, half of the girls in the group immediately started talking to my best friend about the good-looking guys in the car, and whether those were the hot men she was talking about. I snapped and yelled, "Those are my brothers, and I swear to God, friend's name, if you don't stop using my life to get petty clout, I'm cutting you off. Quit living your fantasy through me, do it somewhere else." And left, which I feel like was really harsh and probably could have waited until we were in private. She called me later to tell me she wanted space from our friendship because I was become jealous, needy, and controlling ever since she got close with my brothers, which isn't even remotely true. All of my brothers so far have told me to just stop being friends with her, but she's been really important in my life for a long time, and I don't want to ruin what we have, but at the same time, I don't want to keep letting her use my life for her fantasy. Am I the asshole? Update on 2 days later. Hi everyone! I have a small update for those who'd like to hear it. and I'd also like to say thank you to all the people who gave advice and opinions. So the first thing I did was have a proper talk with my brothers about everything that's been going on. I showed them the post and all the comments I received, and they took a minute to read them before speaking. One of my brothers, Sam, assured me they had never been flirty, romantically interested, or sexual with my friend at any point in time. There was never a time when any of them were alone with her for more than a minute. Not gonna lie, that made everything so much easier. I was terrified one of them was going to admit to having done something with her. We also talked about her recent behaviors. I told them about what she'd been saying, and then Sam spoke up. He said that in the past, they had heard my friend intentionally telling people strange things about me in order to make it seem like I wasn't a person who you'd want to be friends with. They'd overheard these conversations at my house when I wasn't around or doing something and she was waiting for me. Things like she's too clingy, or she's controlling, to even telling people I'd slept with one of my brothers. It hurt a lot. So you guys were right. She has been isolating me from people. After our talk, I needed to get some air, so I went for a walk. My friend ended up calling me and I answered. I know, stupid, but I was hurt and wanted to know if she really had done those things. The conversation went like this. Her. Listen, we've been friends for a long time and I don't want to hurt you, but this friendship has become really toxic. Me. Are you serious? I know what you've been saying about me. You're a liar and a creep, and the only toxic thing in this friendship is you. Her. I've literally never lied to you in my life, so I don't know what you think I've said or done, but you're wrong. It's not my fault people don't want to be your friend because you're weirdly possessive. Me. You literally told people you were dating my brothers. That's gross and really messed up. Her. This is what I mean. You aren't acting like yourself anymore. I feel like ever since we got older, you've started to become obsessed with attention. I don't like this version of you. It isn't my best friend. I hung up after that and now I feel like shit. She was my best friend. I have no idea what to do next because she hasn't stopped blowing up my phone since the call. I want to block her, but I just can't do it. I feel like an absolute failure. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I don't have a clue what I'm going to do next. I want to tell her parents, but what would I even say? Your daughter's fetishizing my brothers. I have literally no evidence whatsoever and I don't know what she's told them about me. Who knows? Any advice would be appreciated. Since my brain isn't working right now and all I've been doing is crying.